What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Velgrynd smiled, relishing the fact that someone like her was present. Even against Feldway, the Lord of the Phantoms, she was confident she'd find a way to win, and there was little chance Feldway himself was involved in this invasion. Indeed, Velgrynd's prediction was accurate. The invaders of this world were a vanguard force of phantoms under the command of Cornu, one of the three phantom leaders. The underworld gate that had naturally manifested in this world was small, insufficient for Cornu to emerge through. Efforts to enlarge it were underway, but the world still had some time before complete conquest. While Velgrynd hadn't deduced all these details yet, what she knew now was adequate. As composed as he appeared, Tensei felt rather disheartened. And who could blame him? The sword skills he believed to be the very best proved entirely ineffective against Velgrynd. Not even his most concealed moves had any impact. Intellectually, he grasped that she originated from another dimension, yet emotionally, acceptance proved elusive. Regardless, he strove to preserve emotional equilibrium, stretching his well-honed mental fortitude to its limits.
Take pride,
Velgrynd suggested with a smile.
Magicules are scarce in this world, yet you've attained remarkable strength. Few here, I believe, have come close to such a feat. If you could absorb more magicules to enhance your body, you might have reached the saint level, not to mention the enlightened. A regret, indeed.
Enlightened? Well, that's a distant goal for me.
Oh, not necessarily. I know, in appreciation of that display, let me offer you a small reward. If you're interested, I could potentially empower that Uchigatana with my abilities.
A reward?
Yes. If you're open to it, I might refine your sword using my abilities.
She smiled once more. Through her create material skill, she could summon a god-class weapon at will. In this instance, she aimed to infuse Tensei's sword with magicules, providing it with what it needed to evolve.
You can do that? You can achieve that, as well?
The idea left Tensei bewildered, but nothing could faze him at this point. Velgrynd, he reckoned, was a being too elevated for him to fully grasp. If she claims she can do it, Tensei thought, she probably can.
This sword is a cherished heirloom passed down from my ancestors, but perhaps I can entrust Velgrynd with it.
Accepting this as the correct decision, he inclined his head towards her, relinquishing his cherished blade.
Go ahead, please.
Of course. Just trust me with this.
Velgrynd acknowledged with a nod as she received the sword. Typically, in situations like these, she would simply summon an azure dragon sword. However, the present circumstances required a different approach. She meticulously examined the internal structure of the blade, adjusting her method as she allowed her magicules to infuse it. This process took time, and her demeanor was more serious and focused than during their battle. 30 minutes passed. The expertise of the ancient swordsmith, combined with Velgrynd's adept control of magicules, converged to produce a divine, radiant aura enveloping the blade.
The task is complete, the divine transformation sealed.
This type of weapon transformation typically required centuries to millennia to reach completion. However, in this brief period, Velgrynd had reshaped Tensei's sword into a divine wonder of god class.
What is this?
It's now the ultimate weapon it can be. Probably superior to any other blade in this world. You might not fully unlock its potential yet, but, well, the sword has its own consciousness now, so if it acknowledges you, it will surely share some of its power.
She chuckled slightly, her dazzling smile captivating Tensei.
Of course, I can't guarantee whether that will happen for you or your descendants, but...
It was now evening, dinner time, and Akira Sakura was in his chamber. Velgrynd had received an invitation and was keen to accept. The palace's female attendants were all carefully chosen, well-trained, and unruffled by unexpected occurrences. The sight of Velgrynd didn't faze them as they prepared a meal for her as if everything was normal. Minamoto stood guard outside the door, with Tensei positioned behind Akira Sakura. Only the emperor and his unexpected guest were seated.
So, what are your intentions here?
I plan to stay with you. I'll protect you.
I am indeed pleased to hear that. But does that mean you are an ally to our empire?
That is correct, indeed.
Velgrynd smiled, finding contentment just by sharing this space with Rudra. Akira Sakura chuckled nervously, unsure how to interpret this.
In that case,
he joked,
do you think you could eliminate all conflicts from the world and put my mind at ease for good?
It was a jest, yet Velgrynd simply smiled in response.
Very well, then. If that's your desire, I will present this entire world to you. I'll gladly eliminate any countries you'd rather do without and silence anyone who dares to object. But before that, We really need to exterminate these troublesome little Yoma, don't we?
Witnessing her innocent smile as she spoke left everyone uncertain how to react. The attendant arranging dinner almost spilled soup all over the tablecloth. Everyone present instinctively sensed that Velgrynd meant every word. Yet expressing intent and possessing the capability were disparate matters. This kind of discourse transcended the boundaries of reason. If anyone else had articulated such notions, they would have been dismissed as the ramblings of someone detached from reality. However, Velgrynd's demeanor prevented them from outright rejecting the notion. Tensei comprehended her true nature. He recognized this wasn't a jest but a genuinely plausible scenario. Akira Sakura shared this awareness.
Oh, I haven't experienced laughter like this in ages. Presenting a jest that even my attendants treat seriously. You've truly surpassed expectations. I do admire your audacious tone though, and I genuinely value the sentiment.
For the time being, the Emperor chose to navigate around the subject to prevent further consternation among his staff. By now, it was common knowledge that Velgrynd was superhuman, a fact further underscored during their dinner conversation. Her prowess wasn't limited to physical strength alone. Her cognitive faculties were equally formidable. Only then did Akira Sakura grasp that she would genuinely execute anything for him. If he commanded her to obliterate another nation, Velgrynd would likely carry it out. Notions of morality were trivial for her. Akira Sakura's will was the sole significant factor. It left him feeling more adrift than ever before in his life. Born as the first heir to the throne, Akira Sakura never lacked for anything. He was devoid of personal liberty, a duty instilled in him from a tender age as the future leader. While he had access to everything he required, he was also compelled to relinquish things he genuinely desired. Matters like romance remained a distant dream. He was wedded to the daughter of one of the supporting princes in the palace, a primarily contractual arrangement, with no right to refusal. As naturally astute as Akira Sakura was, he recognized in his adolescence that the only constant in life is change. Everything is transient. The world resembles a mirage. It's commendable to ardently pursue one's dreams, given that everything ultimately fades away, but opting not to resist destiny, going with the flow, and relishing the small pleasures of daily existence is just as beautiful a way to live. Akira Sakura chose the latter. Even for an emperor with everything, the privilege of doing as he pleased remained an unattainable luxury. This was the primary reason Velgrynd's allegiance surprised him. She possessed unparalleled freedom, unfettered by anything or anyone, and yet she pledged allegiance to no one but Akira Sakura.
Such an unusual woman, or perhaps a goddess. Even if I'm merely a stand-in for this Rudra individual, sensing this genuine goodwill makes me feel oddly self-aware.
Akira Sakura contemplated these sentiments while savoring the most serene dinner he had experienced in quite some time. The following morning, a meeting convened in the imperial headquarters. The primary agenda: how to address Velgrynd. As per Akira Sakura's directive, her role as his lover in the presence of any third party was prohibited. If that were the case, the foremost matter at hand was elucidating her status to the general public. Moreover, the matter of her attire was under consideration. Adopting a foreigner's dress was deemed inappropriate. She needed to don garments befitting her social standing. Collaborating with attendants who brought forth an extensive array of clothing, Tensei, Minamoto, and Akira Sakura deliberated on how to categorize Velgrynd.
Perhaps she could assume the role of another one of His Majesty's imperial attendants in the...
Attendants can't engage in conferences, you imbecile.
Tensei interjected, curtailing Minamoto's statement.
I guess labeling her as a guard would pose challenges too.
We did contemplate that, Your Majesty, but Velgrynd's appearance undeniably attracts too much attention. She is evidently not ethnically native, and there's a risk people might identify her as a spy.
Had her facial features leaned more towards Japanese, this predicament wouldn't have arisen. However, Velgrynd possessed a Scandinavian allure, making her conspicuous in this context. When introduced to the rest of the Guard and Espionage Corps, inquiries would likely arise about why a foreigner had been bestowed such a prestigious position. Simultaneously, they were confident Velgrynd wouldn't consent to being secluded from other officials, and they couldn't afford to squander Velgrynd's formidable combat prowess when she was so willing to be their ally. Just as they grappled with finding a resolution, Velgrynd herself chimed in.
Well, fine. I'm not particularly fond of doing this, and I certainly don't want to at this moment, but I'll alter my external appearance for you. Will something like this suffice?
In the next moment, Velgrynd commenced her transformation. Her hair darkened, along with her eyes, and her complexion took on a warmer hue, tinged with a hint of yellow and a touch of red.
Whoa, that's quite a skill you've got.
Minamoto was caught off guard, while Tensei, on the contrary, had always assumed she was capable of such feats.
Looks like our concerns were unnecessary.
Akira Sakura commented, feeling relieved. A subtle alteration in her skin tone worked wonders in transforming the overall impression she conveyed. It wasn't an exact match to pure Japanese, but it closely bridged the remaining gap. Without further delay, she was outfitted in the same uniform as Tensei and formally inducted into the Imperial Patrol by Akira Sakura, granting her the privilege to attend essential meetings. It's pertinent to mention that the Emperor had no less than 3 distinct organizations assigned to his protection. The first was the Imperial Palace Swordsman Guard, the exclusive unit permitted to bear arms within the palace. However, only Minamoto, their leader, had the authorization to directly enter the Emperor's chambers. The second was the similarly named Imperial Palace Spellcaster Guard, responsible for warding off magical threats and spell-driven attacks against the Emperor. Their primary duty involved maintaining a spiritual protective barrier consistently. In terms of individual combat prowess, they fell short compared to the swordsmen. Similar to their counterpart, only the captain could personally attend to the Emperor. Unfortunately, the captain was engaged in defending the capital and had been absent for the past few days. Finally, there existed the Imperial Guardians, a faction of court protectors who typically operated independently. Among them was Tensei, a figure well known to the public, but not all members were officially documented. Some worked discreetly in the shadows, combating malevolence. Many possessed what could be termed supernatural abilities, while others functioned separately from the Imperial Court, ready to act as body doubles for Akira Sakura. The Imperial Guardians comprised individuals employing diverse methods to ensure the Emperor's safety, and it was widely acknowledged that not all of them maintained a public presence. Consequently, Akira Sakura believed that the Guardians would be the most suitable designation for someone like Velgrynd.
Indeed. I hereby appoint you as a member of the Imperial Guardians. Your current appearance should spare us the need for extensive explanations to others.
I graciously accept the position. I assure you, I will strictly serve as your attendant in the presence of others.
In her newly acquired military attire, Velgrynd responded with notable enthusiasm. A sense of foreboding lingered among the Emperor's advisors, but no one offered a better alternative. Even if an issue arose, they collectively reasoned, it would pale in comparison to the challenges posed by the Yoma invaders.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Jared Bressler, Chad Vota, Chris Guzman, Jason Martin, John M., John Charles, Godman Gaming, Markithian Tidwell, Dragon Spawn 666, J. Rule, Leiron Sangkap, Lucas Guet, Ekotski. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.